Hello there guys, a very warm welcome aboard for another YouTube video here on the channel. My name's Emily, also known as the Northern Princess. Today we're here at Plymouth on the Great Western Main Line route by Just Trains in Class 57 number 603 to Untitled Castle. On train 1 Charlie 50, the 2345 London Paddington to Penzance service, otherwise known as the Night Riviera. So we've just taken over from another crew here at Plymouth and we'll be continuing the service down to Penzance. We'll be driving as far as Lostwithiel, which is approximately a total distance of 34.5 miles. We're due off the blocks in a little over a minute. We'll go when the doors close. And I say we'll be on route today. We'll be calling at Liskeard, Bobbin Parkway, Lostwithiel and Par in this part, and then we'll be continuing the journey further in the next part. So the era that this scenario is designed to represent is around sort of late 2017, 2018, when the first Great Western Blue was being replaced by the green of Great Western Railway. So you'll see a hybrid series of liveries today, starting off with our mixed rake here of Mark III sleeper coaches. Okay, so we're now ready to depart for our first stop at Liskeard. So I'm going to release the brake, we've set the reverser to forward, and we'll clear for the right of way. I'm just going to gently pull away on our way towards Liskeard. So start speed limit here, as you can see, is 25 miles an hour. So let the train accelerate. And we'll go for 25 and then coast for a short while. So the journey westbound is actually quite nice from the cab because obviously the sun comes up behind us, so therefore we get a lot of forward illumination and we're not driving into the sun at all. And we'll return back to AWS service now. You'll notice the newspaper that slides about. I'll leave that in place for a little while. That's one of the features of this train. Obviously we're not quadring with enough force to make a newspaper slide, or we'd be coming off the tracks. So I just let this train get slightly ahead of us there. The brakes are actually configured slightly incorrectly here, that in running there's a slight brake application, and to release them you have to go to released. However, that's the nature of most trains within Train Simulator. So a quick tour of the cab of the Class 57. So we've got a our speedometer, sorry, our ammeter. This is the instrument light dimmer. So we've got dim and bright. Most of the light controls are up here. I'm not going to touch those because they're in the position I need them in. Engine start stop, train brake, loco brake, two-tone horn, 4-step reverser, and a 8-step, 9-step power lever, and our master key. Let's go to the hot plate. You can hit the hot plate, and that is the extent of the controls. Now that we've cleared our 25 restriction, we can allow the train to accelerate up to 40 miles an hour. And then we'll notice for the next station passing being Devonport. Now, the Great Western Main Line is known as Brunel's billiard table, and as far as about Swindon, that's accurate. But at this stage of the route, there's very little of it is actually straight line, so you'll notice some fairly impressive climbs and descents. Now, maximum speed today is 75 miles an hour, and that's the limiting speed of the locomotive. We've got on the rear, we've got a rake of Mark III coaches, which don't have that issue this time. Which are Mark III, both BSO and SLEP coaches, which are sleeper coaches. Okay, we're coming towards 40 miles an hour. This is Dockyard Station. The early morning commuters. Just knock that off because it's annoying me. And then here's our next speed limit, which should be a 50 limit, yeah. So what I'm going to do is idle the power and allow the train to accelerate and coasting down the hill. and this next station is Devonport. Total distance of this first leg is about 17.7 miles to Liskeard, and it should take us in the region of about 20 to 25 minutes. And you can see, if you look out the left window there, you can see into Plymouth Harbour, which is one of the primary anchorages for the Royal Navy. So I'm going to try and drive this quite gently today, as it's still only 10 to 6 in the morning, so therefore a pretty decent chance of us waking anyone up in the back. So we're just going to take our time on this leg of the journey, and just keep the movement smooth. And this is Keyham Station. And we'll just give a gentle blast on the horn as we pass through the stations, letting the speed get slightly away from us there. This is because obviously it is early in the morning and we don't want anyone to be too close to the edge of the track, not expecting a train to be coming, as we're running fast through commuter stations. That's a better view of the Royal Navy anchorage. So we've got a 40 limit coming up very soon. It comes up just after St Budo Road Station. Sorry, St Budo Station, my apologies. It's St Budo Ferry Road, to give it its full name. So I'm just going to gently ease the power off as the limit comes into effect just after this curve. So the reskin today is part of the Vulcan Productions Class 57 pack. I personally do really enjoy it. One of my favourite reskin packs to come out of VP for in a while. Okay, somehow managed to slam an emergency brake application on. And we go, and engine's kicking in, catching the rollback and rollway. That was strange. That wasn't definitely not me making that application. My brake application lasted about that long going through there. It was very strange that it went to an emergency application. But we are actually going to pull back slightly on the power because I'm over-revving the engine. Over-revving the ammeter, sorry. And as you can see, we've got a Morpeth board for a 15 limit. This is about half a mile after the Morpeth board, and that is for the Tama Bridge. The Tama Bridge, of course, being probably the most famous landmark on the route today. Constructed by Isambard Kingdom Brunel, one of the many Brunels. You can also see, just to show you the map, if you look below us there's St Budo Victoria Road, which then leads on a branch line up to Beer Ferris and finally up to Guns Lake. And it's quite a lot of mountain railway. We may cover that for a future video, however I do personally struggle to drive it without the hood just due to how steep the slopes are. So I'm going to get up to about 30 miles an hour on this first leg. In there you can see the bridge coming into view, so time for me to ease off the power and just allow the train to coast for a short while. And we're just going to put some brake on, help the speed come down, so we pass the 15 post at no more than 15 miles per hour. As you can see, this is the Tama Bridge, opened in 1859 and Made by Isambard Kingdom Brunel. IK Brunel. A lovely Union Jack building down there, I believe that's a pub. And a lovely view over the bay. Even though I do have my settings maxed out in Train Simulator, it still can't cope with the drawing distance. Nope, that didn't work. See, the Mark IIIs actually do have their own tail lights. I believe these are updated local hold Mark III coaches. However, the tail lamp's been fitted, I assume as a precaution. And that's the front of the trains coming off the bridge. We're going to be looking out for the next speed limit as we also pass through Saltash Station. Clearing Saltash, we can accelerate up to 55 miles an hour, as per the speed post. I was actually looking over at my notes for that, not waiting for the speed post to be readable. Welcome to Cornwall, Saltash. So my notes actually say I'm allowed to accelerate passing the 2+7 marker on this at this platform is the safe point to accelerate from. It's 2.4, that's the 10 car marker. 2+7 right the way down here. So I'll wait for that to go out of view, down the side of the train, and let's go for it. And there goes the bridge. So you can see I left a couple of dynamic blue trains in, or cars in. This scenario was made for purposes of this video. It may get released, it may not, I'm not really sure. I'll probably release a Alan Thompson sim after the videos are released. So a bit of history on the Class 57s. Class 57s are actually formerly Class 47s, known as body snatchers. They're fitted basically with Class 66 engines, correction, Class 66 alternators, and different engines. I'm going to pull power off. And wait for it to take a second, wait for a couple of seconds, and power back on. There we go. So up to 70 miles an hour we go now. Next station we'll be passing will be St. John's. Go back to notch 1, and that's just enough power to have the train coast. So as mentioned, the Class 57s are re-engined and upgraded Class 47s, known as body snatchers. On paper a very good idea, however they prove universally unpopular with drivers or engineers, depending on which part of the world you're from. So what was a good idea on paper didn't turn out so well in practice. I believe 18 total produced. Mainly for Virgin Trains West Coast, to act as Thunderbird locos, and for DRS, and for Freightliner, sorry. DRS snapped the majority of them up, and a couple of the Dash 6s remain with Great Western. West Coast Railway is the only operator that has, West Coast Railways are the only operators, sorry, to have one of each class. That's the Dash 0s, the Dash 3s and the Dash 6. They have 57601, which is the prototype. Which they operate as Windsor Castle on the Northern Bell services, and the remainder of the Dash 6s are with Great Western, I believe 4 in total, operating these services on the Night Riviera. In the mid to late noughties, they also operated occasional local hauled services further out west on weekends. However, that's no longer occurring. Power comes off. Oh, little jack brake. Clear run. I happen to know where the first train, but the only train that runs westbound in this scenario. All other trains run eastbound. So I know that AWS will be from Bobbin for a 50 nights, which is roughly 3/4 of a mile from Bobbin. So what I'll do is just put a my braking in and let the train start slowing off. Down to 50. And brake off. Maybe I'll just coast at 50 miles an hour. Coasting is an incredibly efficient way to save energy in a train. There's our 50 coast. A bit of go-go juice on. Gorgeous bridge. We've got a lot of very cool bridges on this route. And this is St. German station. Just after St. German, the speed limit will go up to 65 miles an hour. Slightly there. I'm going to put the hammer down, let the train accelerate back up to 65 miles an hour. Now we cruise at 65 all the way now until... No, sorry, apologies, we're going to have a 60 board coming up not too long from now. Okay, full power. You can see we're going up a rather steep slope at the moment, 1 in 74. And that's just a sharp contrast to the Great Western between Paddington and Bristol Temple Meads. You know, the majority of the gradients, between Swindon at least, the majority of gradients on that route are measured in thousandths. So once again, we're returning the capture, the Class 57. Brakes, train and loco, windscreen wiper, AWS reset, horn, window washer, throttle, reverser, master key, ammeter, blue lamp. speed on better. Train length button, which goes beep, and then you hear a second beep where the end of the train goes off that point. There you go, so that's the end of the train, now cover that area. That's particularly handy when you're moving out of junctions, for example, you just want to know when it's safe to accelerate. Got brake pipe indicator, brake cylinder indicator, brake reservoir indicator. So brake pressure indicator, brake cylinder indicator, my apologies. And we're at 65, so park and come off again. We've got about notch 3. And yeah, that's the cab tour for the past 50 seconds. That's all the clickable ones. I've got start stop buttons there. You very scarcely use those in scenarios. I suppose the ability to start and stop your train is something you don't miss until you don't have it. Yeah, I know what I've done wrong. I know exactly what I did wrong. That's a controller binding issue. It's not a me problem. It's not a me problem. It's not a me problem. I'm just going to position the camera here and give us a drive past view. I'm going to watch that brake come off now. There we go. When the pressure indicator stops dropping, I'll do that. If for whatever reason the engine revved up, wasn't generating any amps, let's try that. I don't know about you, but I can definitely hear the Class 66 in that. Cool, just checking my information there. It's got the use of VP grass. On either side, I believe that this also uses the VP trees. I'm not 100% sure though. And that's the mop board for our 60 lights. Which comes in about half a mile, so we're not really going to be up at 60 before we reach it probably. We'll just accelerate as fast as 60 and stay there. There's the 60 post. So from here, just gonna keep our eyes on the road. It's a little over a mile, I believe. Another gorgeous bridge. So I believe we snake back downhill slightly. Actually, disregard. This is... I can't pronounce this one. M-E-N-H-E-N-I-O-T. Meno? Meno, I'm going to assume Meno Station. Yeah, so it's not over a mile run, it's about another 2 or 3 minutes journey time. At least we're timetabled for probably 6 minutes. Hello, Mr. 66. JNA's in the back, not much. When you see those work trains running, it can be really, you know, you can have either really long rakes with cranes in and all sorts, or just a single wagon, or anything in between. There's one that runs on a semi-regular basis, which is Doncaster to Miller Hill, which is up by Edinburgh, and I used to see them from where I worked at the time. And it was really a case of, you know, there was times you'd see the train come through and it would just be a pair of 56s running like loco to go to Miller Hill and get stuff. Other times, you know, it would be a 10 plus car work train. So, you know, really did vary. And squeeze it over again. Put a bit of brake pressure in. Okay, so 3/4 of a mile to go. So what I'm going to do is just put a bit of extra brake pressure and get the speed up about 35 miles an hour. And that way we can judge our stop a lot safer and more easily. There we go, 40 will be a nice point to come from. Yep, and brake pressure going back on. This is this guard station we're approaching now. It's a nice steep brake application. This is the list guard station. So we're just going to stop at the end. Ideally we want to stop against this signal, but we'll stop at the end. It's just we do have a longer train than most. Probably stop against the 10 car mark. So yeah, we're about 4 minutes early on arrival. What we'll do is we'll wait here for about 4 minutes and then depart. Okay, just like that, we're back. I didn't reopen the doors, I just sort of pretended they were open. But it's 90 minutes past now, so let's go places. And away we go. So our next stop is Bobbin Parkway, about 9 miles away. And our start speed is about 60 miles an hour. One of the great things about this route is all of the speed limits have got a more board roughly half a mile before them. So it's very easy to know when you need to brake. Full power. Let's go. Interestingly, currently I'm not putting any more amps out. If anything, the number of amps is dropping. We're starting for 60, so I'm just going to put full power back in. Help the speed climb. These locomotives are not the most powerful locos, as you can see. There's one of the grievances drivers had with them, is they're a lot less powerful than some of the 47s were. And they only lasted around 2 or 3 years with Freightliner. The next thing I'm looking out for is a multi-board for a 45, which is around 45 miles from a 45 limit. Sorry, 0.5 miles from a 45 limit. It's 45 for us because we are local, so therefore we don't have the high speed limit advantage. So I'm going to let that start to wash off. I just feel like we have a rather steep slope. So I'm just going to gently wash the speed back to 40. So we're now going to a single track section. The speed limit does increase to 55 technically. So we are going to follow that. So again, this is one of the few sections of single track mainline that I can think of. Actually negative, my apologies. We're going to remain at 40 for that. Rather not get caught out. This gorgeous bridge. This number I'm going to use the speed measuring. There we go. Clear to go back up to 55. You wouldn't think I'd full power in the lack of acceleration that's happening. I mean, again, the slope's actually a down slope at the moment. And that's 60 power still. I'm going to coast past this. Cruising towards Bobbin Parkway now. Well, I've run out of things to talk about him. Let's have a nice drive-by shot. Okay, go reduce now. Okay, and this 50 post is about 0.6 miles. Yep, 0.6 miles from Bobbin. End of platform, so just going to put a brake on me. Just to help that speed wash off. I believe that's the left-hand curve. Here's Bobbin Parkway station. There it is. This is the Bobbin and Wentford Railway, I believe. That comes off from here. And they have platform 3. And again, we'll just stop at the end here. Yeah, okay, I went a bit fast. Again, there's no really prescribed stop point for the Night Riviera on that section, on that route. My apologies. Okay, actually, there we go, had the right way we've acknowledged, let's go. So our start speed limit out of Bobbin Parkway is 65, sorry, correction, 55, and Lost Withiel is our next and final stop, which is 3.5 miles away. Great, power off, let the power pop fall away. There we go, we go back up to 65, so full power back down now. So I was correct with the spotlight and speed limit at 65, my apologies. Although we got another 45 limit in 3/4 of a mile. So now they're up at 60. We'll go thank you very much, and drop the power straight back off and go back down to 45. And we're now descending down towards our last station at Par. I believe we are at least. Yep, this is Par Station here. Have I got confused? Yes, I have. I've got confused. This is Lost Withiel here. For some reason I managed to skip Lost Withiel. That makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot more sense with regards to everything. And at this station I just want to stop up against the signal at the end. Just Lost Withiel signal 57. Or just by the 2+7 markers. Nope, not a screenshot. Also just noticed our headlights are set to night mode. There we go, day mode. Okay, right away. So our start speed limit is 45 miles now, and our next stop is Par, which is 4.5 miles away. Well, the starting speed limit 55, my apologies. And that down there is the branch off to Mooreswater Lafarge, which is a cement factory. Par, I believe, is effectively over this hill. So we'll start going downhill in the not too distant future. Yep. And we can keep accelerating towards 45 for a while, then we'll let the power drop off. go, and we'll maintain 40 miles an hour until Par Station. Wonder if it's on par with other stations that we've seen today. Sorry. I'll stop trying to tell jokes. And so dropping down this side is a 1 in 60 down slope. So Par as well, the home of some Blazer Depot that's now closed, I believe, and it's just a stabling area for diesel locos, sorry, operating on the China clay trains. And also where the line to Newquay diverges, part of the Atlantic coast. I think it's part of the Atlantic coastline, sorry. We'll just keep the speed nice under control. Semaphore is half a mile to go until Par Station. And the station's just after an overbridge, which should be coming into view momentarily. We've got a HST set in there waiting for us to... We should be departing momentarily. Great. Managed to get the emergency brakes in. Oh, interesting, there's tail lights on. Yeah, that'll be... It says this is when the castle sets. Because there were delays in the sliding door stock coming in, they started using some of the castle sets with the... Yikes. Some of the castle sets with...